Hey there, welcome to the Flute 360 podcast. I'm Dr. Heidi K. Begay, and I'm a flutist, educator, coach, and podcaster. My God-given mission is to serve you. I am passionate about guiding you, the modern-day flutist, to discover your unique voice on and off the stage. The goal of this podcast is to help you thrive, both as an artist and as a musicpreneur. Go ahead and grab some espresso, your favorite notepad, and let's get to it. Today's episode 217 is titled College and Graduate School Auditions, 6 Tips to Succeed, Part 1. Hey 360er, welcome back to the Flute 360 podcast episode. I am sitting here in my office underneath my favorite blue blankie that I got from Target, and I am ecstatic that you're here. And I am beyond thrilled that I am here with you. So this is a perfect time to record because the cats are napping and my husband is out of the house. It is so quiet in here, it's a little creepy. It's creepy in a good way because actually I can get a lot of work done and there are hardly any distractions. I get to sit here and be with you. So if you have not listened to episode 216, all about navigating and combating your performance anxiety, I highly recommend that you check it out. Thank you to those who have emailed me and told me how much the content has served you well this past week. That brings a huge smile to my face, and it brings me so much joy knowing that the content is helping you in that arena. If you ever want to message me and just say, hey girl, I'm here, I'm a podcast listener, my email is heidikbegay@gmail.com. That's HEIDIKAYBEGAY@gmail.com. I absolutely love hearing from you. Today's episode is all about tips and tricks to help you through the audition process. Now, specifically, I am talking about the audition process for those who are aspiring to get into a collegiate or graduate music school program. However, I am pretty sure that these 6 tips could really serve you well as you are preparing for auditions when it comes to perhaps your community band or the next orchestral audition. This is a really fun time of the year for me. I love it when the fall season is around us, the weather is getting cooler. Technically, the leaves are supposed to be falling, but not here in Texas, which is a complete downer. But today, the air in the Dallas area is so crisp and clean and cool. I'm absolutely loving it. So with the change of the seasons, it indicates to me a change, for goals and aspirations. We are at the top of the 2022 academic year, and it feels like the new year. I know it's not January, and I know that there are no official New Year's resolutions as of yet, but it kind of feels like we can apply New Year's resolutions to the fall. A whole new season is right before us, and this is a time when I know a lot of flutists are working towards and aspiring towards a specific music program that they would like to be a part of for the following academic year. So if you fall into that category and you are working right now towards the college auditions or graduate school auditions for your instrument, I'm guessing specifically flute because you're a flutist and you're here, but this is applicable to all instrumentalists. If you fall into that category, then this episode is perfect for you. On the flip side, if you are a teacher and you are guiding your students through this process, feel free to use these 6 helpful tips to guide them through this season as well, if you would like to. So the first nugget that I want to share with you is for me to kindly remind you to establish or reestablish your priorities. Now, the priorities that I'm going to list off to you right now are my priorities right now in this current season. When you make your own list of priorities, and I'm going to share a diagram that's going to help you through this exercise, just know that your priorities might change per the season of life that you're in. We aren't robots, we are human beings, and sometimes these things shift. So my friendly disclaimer is, yes, we are putting things down onto paper, but it's with pencil, and your pencil has an eraser on it. We are not etching these priorities down into stone or into stone where it's permanent. Life has an ebb and flow. Seasons change. Humans change. So yes, have a framework, have some organization, but also have flexibility and fluidity in your life. So if you haven't taken some time out before to establish your priorities, this is a really good time to do that right now. If you haven't past seasons, if you've done something like this, maybe re-examine those priorities and see if you're still in alignment with that list. The reason why we're doing this is because now that you're going into this audition season, I don't know about you, but for me, I can get so fixated on my goal where other parts of my life actually kind of go to the wayside. I don't know about you, but I get super, super hyper focused. And I don't know if that's because this is the way my brain works or if I get a boost of inspiration and nothing else matters to me. When I have a goal in front of me, I'm like, get into that DMA program, get into that DMA program. And I'm just so fixated on it. That's good to have goals. That's good to have focus. But I lovingly want to remind you that we need to establish these priorities in your life so that way you are balanced. This way you're grounded. And a great way to do that is to establish your priorities. What makes up you? It's not just that audition that's happening in 6 months from now. You have a life around that audition. You need to sleep well and take care of yourself well, both through diet and rest and leisure. You need to be able to support yourself in other realms of your life too in order to assist your goals and in order to reach the goals that you have 6 months from now. So for me, I'm a very visual learner. I'm a very visual person. So I like to chart things out, draw it out, because that helps me process what's going on internally and putting it out externally into the world so I can process that information. So if you go to my website at HeidiKBegay.com, that's my full name, HeidiKBegay.com, I will have a picture provided in the show notes through my website under this episode's show notes. I draw your attention there because I want to showcase a diagram that I actually utilize for my own life, and I'm going to provide a blank canvas for you as well. So this diagram is actually quite simple in design. There really isn't anything fancy about it. But the reason why I want to share this chart with you is because when I show this diagram with my friends, colleagues, peers, students, and clients, some of them get really excited. And if it can help you, then I have done my job. So pretty much if you can't get to my website right now, that's okay. You can do it later. But there's pretty much 3 boxes in the center of the page. The center box is my core. the thing that helps me get up in the morning, the thing that drives me and is my number one passion. The second box is me and what that entails. And then the third box around that is my business, Flute 360. Then what stems off of those three boxes are about, 7 or 8 different stems, lines that indicate the different departments in my business. The reason why I do this is because if I sit down in the morning to work on my business and I open up the inbox, I am going to get a flood of different emails from these different departments. And if I try to go through them and wear quickly the marketing cap of my business or the CEO cap of my business, perhaps I'm trying to reply back to a listener or a client under this customer service umbrella, I'm going to feel all scattered. I try to wear one hat at a time. So we're not going to get into all the different departments of my business, right? But there are about 7 to 8. There's the CEO, the CTO, CMO, CFO, and I have a volunteer department, HR, customer service, and the creative department. That's really not the focus right now. The focus is I need to ground myself and figure out why I'm placed here on earth. Well, not figure it out, but remind myself of my passions, my aspirations, who I am as a person, and then what I get to do in my business. Because if I, again, not to sound like a broken record, but if I focus in on these small little details, I'm going to get super, super overwhelmed. Just like you could possibly get super overwhelmed with all the details that are laid out before you through the audition process, right? All the different schools and their deadlines, all the different repertoire lists, the different recording requirements, venues, pianists, dates, travel arrangements. These are all really important details. But if we are too focused in on the nitty-gritty stuff and we don't take 10 steps back, we could get easily overwhelmed. So by establishing your priorities, you lay out the groundwork. You remind yourself why you are placed on this earth, who you are, what fulfills you, what do you need as a human being. And then you, as the person, get to step into that third box, the audition process, your work, whatever the case may be. So for me, my inner box is my faith and my relationship with God. If I don't start off each and every day, now I'm not perfect, but if I do not start off my day with at least 5 to 30 minutes of intentional devotional work, I feel scatterbrained all day long. My second box is work on me. Who am I? I, as Heidi, I need to take care of myself. So my health is a huge priority in my life. I want to make sure I'm eating well so I can feel good, so I can think well. I want to make sure that I get adequate sleep. I want to make sure that I am taking care of myself, because if I can't function well, then how am I supposed to complete the tasks on my calendar well? Another part of this inner circle are my priorities when it comes to my family. I really care about my husband and my cats. Now that sounds really wonky and goofy, but it's so true. I want to make sure that they are loved and taken care of, that I have time to play with my kitties and I have time to go and hang out with my husband, whether it's through an evening walk or watching TV. He is a top priority in my life. And then I get to step into my Flute 360 world and wear my 7 different hats. So again, go to HeidiKBegay.com, check out the show notes. I'm going to provide you with a blank diagram. I encourage you to fill out this blank diagram for yourself. It could easily take you, oh, I don't know, 5-15 minutes to do it. And even though, yes, it's maybe 15 minutes, it could potentially save you lots of time and lots of heartache. So as you're going into this audition season of your life, I want you to be reminded of what those priorities are. I want you to remind yourself that, yes, your family is important to you. Taking care of yourself is important to you. Whatever it is, whatever your priorities are, ground yourself so then that way you can carve out time for those things as well. I don't want you to have this super hyper focused, drive going in the sense of, I got to get into, that program, or I want to start pursuing that degree. That's really, really good to have that ambitious goal. But if you are too hyper focused on that one thing and you let other elements of your life go to the wayside, then you could easily burn out, and I don't want that to happen to you. So yeah, hopefully this chart has served you well, and I would absolutely love to hear your reflections and thoughts as you're going through this exercise. Moving on to tip number 2, I highly encourage you to find a mentor who is going to support you through this season. And not just any mentor. I want you to find a music teacher who has walked the walk, who has gone before you and actually did the thing that you want to achieve. Finding the right mentor is essential for your success. If you want to pursue a master's degree in flute performance or a doctoral degree in flute performance, then I highly recommend you find somebody who has gone through the exact same steps. Reason being is because they are going to know the ins and outs of the recording process, the live audition process, the paperwork that is required, like your teaching philosophy, writing samples, cover letters, resumes, things like that. So having that guidance from the right person is crucial to your success. And moving into the third nugget for today, and that is to plan. Now, I think you know what I'm going to say. Make sure you plan so that way you have a road map, but I don't want you sitting in the planning stage for too long. I think a common mistake that a lot of musicians make is that we plan too much. I get it. I like to cross my T's and dot my I's too, but at some point you gotta pull the trigger. Okay? You have to cut that wood. A carpenter measures his wood twice and then cuts it once. That is great advice, but you have to, at some point, take action. Okay? But I want you to plan with a bigger picture in mind. I want you to think bird's eye view here. I don't want you getting quite yet into the nitty-gritty of all the details and crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's. I want you to take 10 steps back with me, okay? I want you to reverse engineer everything. If you know that in this fall semester, your taped recordings, taped, oh my goodness, that's a blast from the past. But if you know that your taped recordings are due, say, December 1st, right? You need to kind of put that in your calendar and then count backwards and say, oh, okay, I have 24 weeks or 20 weeks, whatever the number is, okay? So now you're getting this big picture, a bird's eye view of what's to come for the next 6 months. So I'm saying 6 months because we are in September now, and your recorded round is typically due around December, right? And then February is the live audition round. So from September through February, that's about 6 months. And what I love to do with long-term goals like this is to go to a website that offers free calendar printouts. And I will print out those 6 months, September through February, and tape each calendar month to the wall. It kind of makes my office space look a little janky, but I'm okay with that. And it helps me again to visualize what's to come for the next 24 weeks. So I do this because I don't want to get bogged down with my day-to-day tasks, like, I don't know, getting the gas, grocery shopping, running errands, etc. My 6-month calendar is separate from those day-to-day tasks. Now, through the 6-month calendar, I am only writing down the big deadline dates. So if December 1st is when the school is requiring for my taped recording to be submitted, then that goes down on the calendar. If February 2nd is, I don't know, the live audition date, if I'm invited to the live round, February 2nd, that date gets thrown into the calendar. I'm only looking at the big picture with these printouts, okay? So this really helps me to stay organized. It helps me to get a lay of the land, see what's coming up for the next 24 weeks, and then this is great for me to be able to take that action that I know I need to take from the day-to-day, week-to-week tasks to reach my goal. So if you're applying to 3 or 4 different collegiate programs or graduate school programs, make sure that all of their deadlines are included into the 6-month calendar, right? And you could even color code it. Why not? Perhaps UNT is written in green. Perhaps TCU is written in purple. I'm thinking of those schools right now just because I'm in Texas and those are Texas-based schools. So get really creative in this system, and I hope that serves you well. But yeah, if you're applying to multiple programs, you need to really peruse through their website and make sure that their deadlines are all placed into your big picture calendar. Deadlines for scholarship information, financial information, paperwork and when it needs to be submitted, your CV, resume, teaching philosophy, and all that jazz. Now, if something is unclear through the website, just ask. I know that sounds like I am stating the obvious, but sometimes I see students kind of look like deers in headlights when something is unclear. And they ask questions like, well, what do I do? What's going to happen? And I simply and lovingly just say, email the professor, email the committee. Pick up the phone. People would love to know that you're interested in auditioning at their school. So yeah, keep it simple, Smarty. Kiss it, and it's all good. Now, moving on to another aspect of this big picture calendar, and that is for you to remember the dates that aren't necessarily listed through their website. What I mean by that is remember the dates for you to achieve X goal in the sense of setting up a venue. When does that need to be done by? Establishing rehearsals with the pianist, doing a dress rehearsal, setting up dates with the recording engineer. All of these things need to be thrown into that calendar system as well. These are things that I have seen students time and time, forget about, right? And I empathize. There are so many things, there are so many moving parts in this season that certain aspects can go to the wayside, and I don't want that to happen for you. It can happen to anyone where it's already October or November, and then you're like, oh, I have plenty of time to work with the pianist. And then you call, right? You call someone and think, oh, somebody surely could be available in the next couple weeks to record this with me. But people usually operate 3 to 4 to maybe even 5 months out. So if you have recordings that are due December 1st or December 15th, I would lovingly encourage you to start reaching out to those pianists now. I would establish a venue, a recording session with a recording engineer, and get those people in place. If you don't know who to reach out to, I would love to be that support system for you. Because a lot of times I know when I get into like over analysis paralysis, it can be daunting to think about, oh man, I have to reach out to this person, and my network really isn't wide enough. Don't fret. Tap into resources like myself, and I would love to extend my orbit out into your world. Yeah, so use me as a resource. I would absolutely love to serve you in that way. The last thing that I want to say around this big picture calendar idea is to give yourself a buffer zone. Give yourself some time just in case something goes awry. For example, technical issues. I have seen this happen so many times through Eric's end or through the technical world. Things happen, right? Wires crisscross, something goes awry. It's bound to happen, okay? Your pianist perhaps gets sick. So if your recorded round and those recordings are due December 1st, please, oh please, don't wait until November 30th to say, okay, I'm going to record 2 days beforehand. That's not fair to you, right? That puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on yourself, and I don't want that for you. I want you to feel like you can breathe and take up that healthy space and really enjoy the process. So since we are using December 1st as an example, this is a really good one because not just planning ahead and being proactive in terms of there could be glitches, through the recording engineer side, or the pianist gets sick. Look at the calendar too. Notice any important dates that are popping up 2 weeks before December 1st. That's around the Thanksgiving holiday. You may need to actually give yourself a 3-week buffer. This way you can really plan accordingly to the pianist's holiday arrangements. You don't want to impose into, dinner plans and holiday plans, traveling plans. You want to have enough time to implement and to record in this really healthy space. Great. So now that you've got your 6-month calendar printed off, put up on the wall, and all of the necessary dates are on it, kudos. I am so proud of you. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode, and I just want to say thank you for being here. I hope tips 1 through 3 really served you well. And to give you a little sneak peek into tips 4, 5, and 6, I just want to let you know that these nuggets are going to be shared in episode 218, where we are going to examine how to be and how to plan your day-to-day and week-to-week tasks to reach your audition goal, how to be more organized, and finding the joy and the pleasure through the process. Thank you so much for listening. And if you truly are in this season of auditioning for a collegiate program or a graduate program in music, I would love to serve you in that capacity. If you want to go ahead and get a sneak peek of my teaching style to see if we would be a good fit moving forward, then I think a trial lesson would be fantastic for you. There are lesson times available for 30-minute lessons, 45-minute lessons, and 60-minute lessons. All of the links are below, and I can't wait to see you. Thanks! Thank you again for listening to episode 217. Truly, if you want to work with someone through your audition season, I would love to help you through this process. Now, those one-on-one lessons is a great time for that private instruction, right? And if you want that, great. The links are below and I cannot wait to see you. But sometimes people work really well in a group setting. So if you want to be in a masterclass, then the next Flute 360 Masterclass is scheduled for October 8th, 2022 from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Central Time. I chose this time because it's really good for the international 360 listeners as well. The deadline to perform, if you would like to perform, is October 5th, 2022. And just send me an email. Send me an email with the name of the repertoire piece that you would like to perform and any details that I should know. There's not going to be a true audition process. It's really first come, first serve. This masterclass is completely chilled, but it's going to be very intentional with the time that we have together. I want you to learn a lot. I want us to grow together. And I think having 4-player spots available is perfect. Now, if you want to be an auditor, there are unlimited seats for that. Again, go ahead and register so that way you can claim your seat. And the ticket price to be a performer is $45, and the ticket price to be an auditor is $15. Again, the deadline to perform is October 5th, 2022. Send me an email at heidikbigay@gmail.com. Click the links below to register, and I will see you soon. Thanks.
Let's talk about Flute.